I'm gonna walk you through my project, a Java program that I wrote called Sentence Fixer 2. It takes a messy sentence, like one with no capital letter, missing punctuation, duplicate words, or weird spacing, and cleans it up. Here's a quick demo. So that's that. Now we're gonna look at four key functions that I've made. And that would be capitalization, punctuation, duplicate word removal, and duplicate spacing removal. And then we'll look at how we used Java Swing and why the code works the way it does. Let's go. To start us off, the capitalization method. It checks for null or empty inputs, which is always a good habit, and takes the first character, makes it the uppercase, and appends the rest of the string. This works because strings in Java is immutable. So we're creating a brand new string. This is simple but effective, and it works for my basic sentence fixer. It doesn't handle leading spaces perfectly, but that's about my scope. Next here is punctuate. It adds a period to the sentence if it doesn't already end with a period, exclamation mark, question mark, or even a quotation mark. So, why does this work? Here I first trimmed the first trailing spaces so it doesn't interfere with the check. And if the sentence already has a valid end punctuation, we're going to leave it alone. Otherwise, as you can see here, we append a period, and this makes the output look like proper English sentences. This is because of terminal punctuation in grammar. Now, I also used Regex functions, and it helps remove duplicate consecutive words like if the sentence had the or hello. And here's my breakdown of my regex. So the question mark I is case sensitive, so that the with a capital T would work. I also set a word boundary with a //b. This prevents matching inside. And then I also added a //w plus, which captures any group 1 word, which we do assign later on, or we assign as the first word of each word in a sentence. And then we have //s plus, which finds one or more spaces. And then the //1 references back to the group 1 word that we have identified as. And then the plus at the last, at the end there is for repeating. So if hello had another hello, it would still work. Why does this code work is because Regex engine scans strings and finds the word followed by spaces, and if it sees the same word over and over again, it replaces the whole chain of it with the replace all group 1, which keeps only the first group 1 that we identified, which would be the first word that shows up, or the first repeated word that shows up. And then we also call double space to clean up all the extra spaces behind. Uh, and that's, yeah. Speaking of, double space is super simple. It replaces any sequence of white space, such as uh, spaces, tabs, new lines, with just a single space. And then it trims the end of the sentence, and this is a great method to keep the output clean. Now, with the graphical interface, I used Java Swing and the JFrame functions, where I pieced together 3 panels with the border layout. At the top would be the label and text. In the center, the output and the label and non-editable text field. And then the buttons panel, which has the fixed sentence and clear buttons. And when you click fixed sentence, an action listener method starts up. It grabs the text from the input field and runs it through the 4 functions or sequences or methods, which is capitalize and then punctuate and then duplicate and then the double space. And it puts the results in that output field that we saw just now. If there is an error, it will pop out a J option pane, which ensures that my program does not crash. This works because Swing is an event-driven program and it sits idle until you click a button. The listener pattern keeps all of the UI responsive, and I also made sure to wrap the GUI creation with the Swing utilities invoke later. This helps me make sure that the components are all created on this event dispatch thread, which prevents all the weird threading bugs. And as you can see in this main method, it simply calls Swing utilities invoke later with a runnable that calls create and show UI, which apparently is the safe way to launch Swing apps. So, what did we just build? That's a good question. We made a sentence fixer that capitalizes the first letter, adds a period if it's missing, removes duplicate consecutive words, collapses multiple spaces, and it all works because each part is doing its job. Goodbye.